What's up, everybody? Synthetic Division here. So in today's video, we're going to be going over the NerdOctaxe revision 3.1. This one was sent to me by Vimu. They are a Chinese-based reseller. So they just make mining equipment like this. They sell the big boy ASICs. They sell everything. Now, you might remember if you've watched my videos before, I've done a couple other ones from Vimu. They sent me the 703 Hex and the 601 Gamma. So they were like, hey, do you want to try out the revision 3.1 Octax? And I was a little bit nervous, to be frank. These bigger ones, they're kind of intimidating. So I was a little nervous. And then they actually sent me the NerdOctaxe revision 6.1 as well. Kind of cool. Much appreciated, Vimu. The reason they sent them to me is I'm not a reseller, and I don't have any interest in being a reseller. But they sent them to me because they want me to just put them through the paces and see if they hold up to current standards. And I'm happy to oblige. So with that out of the way, just so you guys know, let's go ahead and get into this. So the Octax, this is the third 3.1 revision. They also have a 15 terahash model. Now, Vimu offers this in copper with the heatsinks. I opted for the black because I don't really care about the copper heatsinks. And they actually have one with RGB fans, which I think that would have been kind of cool. But I'll take the black one. So let's just look this over real quick. We have our 6 power phases across the top here. We have a LilyGo display, 90 mil fans on the front, decent sized heat sinks right here. There's 2 of them. And then on the back, they actually include 2 extra fans for the back side of the power phases. So that's pretty awesome, actually. The stand seems pretty good. It's got nice vent holes right here. So, it can get that air out. Yeah, you can put it all in there, but if you trap it in there, it ain't going to do no good. And then, when I got this box, guys, this was heavy. And I was trying to figure out, I've only seen pictures of Octaxes, and they're always looking huge. But then I realized that my hand, that's my hand right there. So they're not that big, okay? This is what was heavy. This is power supply that came with it. This is a Meanwell. Let me show you here. GTS 360 A12-C8P. So on 120, it is 28.2, I believe that says, max. On 240, however, it's 330 watt max. So I will actually probably be putting this on my 240 because I do have 240 in there too. I recently had my electrician come through and he's added some more goodies in there for me. A case of beer and some food, and takes care of that. For reference, let's pull this back up here. This power supply is actually wider than the Octax, which is crazy. Okay, and on top of that, I actually just happen to have I have a Meanwell 300 watt right here, and that's a 12 volt, and that's the power brick. Let's put it in view for you guys. So it's a pretty chunky boy. Technically, this power supply is more powerful than this Meanwell 12 watt. Granted, you can do some adjusting and settings and testing on that, but this power supply is technically bigger. Okay, and then for more reference, here's a Bit Solo Player Gamma power supply, and here's the guy she tells you not to worry about. Yo, this thing is crazy. I was like, this package is awfully heavy. That's why. Anyways, let's get past the power supply there. Now, if you don't know, like most of the vendors, they just copy exactly everything about them in China, and I just go through the paces. Are they better? Are they worse? Are they quality? That's what I do. So we'll take this over to the bench after I set it up and get it all on the system and on my pool, and then we'll actually take it off the stand to take a look at the back as well. But we'll probably do that on my bench because there's a little more room there than on this table. So I'm going to go ahead and one thing I want to focus on here, and I want you guys to think about what I have learned from the Zyber 8S compared to these models. Anything using this connector, this XT60 or XT30, BM1370 I highly recommend that when you go to plug them in, so we'll move the brick back here, before you plug the power into the brick, plug this into the miner. And you might ask, why do you do that? I do that because I have seen voltage jump, power jump from barely touching it. Now, could that hurt it? Yes. Dirty voltage is bad voltage. You want clean voltage. So if you accidentally send dirty voltage to the board, you could hurt it. I highly recommend that that's how you plug in XT connectors, any type. I know that from RC cars because I've seen RC cars get screwed up by doing that. I've also seen small solar panel things get screwed up when you do that. So I highly recommend that you plug in the connector and the brick first and then supply the power from the wall to the brick. Okay. Now that's out of the way, I'm going to pause the video real quick. I'm going to get it set up on my pool. I do have a video about setting up a NerdOctaxe. It's exactly the same as an Octax, as a NerdOctaxe. It's all the same. The only difference is these can do dual pool, and I can show you that in a later video. Right now, this is just about getting it ready and getting an overview done on it. So hang in there a second, guys. I'm going to get this powered up, and then I'm going to get it on my setup on Mining Dutch and to be solo mining. So hang in just a second. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back up and running, and I just plugged it in, and the hash rate is flying out of control there. Not really. It's almost a 12 terahash right now as we speak. About 11.5. Its expected terahash is 12.075. That's crazy. This actually makes it the most powerful miner in my collection so far. Wow, that's a lot of power. I'm legitimately nervous about this, and that's why I decided I'm just going to plug it into 240 because I want this to have as much power as it needs. According to the desktop right now, and I won't show you guys, but I can tell you right now, it is drawing 190 watts. So it's up there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. We're up and running. One of the things I wanted to tell you before we get to the benchtop. Something I really like about the Nerd Miner stuff, the NerdOctaxe stuff, I should say, sorry. If you ever have firmware problems or want to load a custom firmware, it's so easy on these versus the Bitaxe stuff. So with Bitaxes, you plug them into the power, and then you plug a Type-C cable into your computer, and then you flash it, right? With these, you can literally just turn the power off, pull the display off, plug just the display into your computer, flash it, put the display back on, and you're good. I freaking like that. It's more convenient. So anyways, let's get it over to the bench. Let's tear it down. Let's take a look at the back. Okay, hang on a second, guys. Okay, so here we are with the bench top. Here it is from the front there. This thing is big. I had to lift the camera stand up just slightly so we could get it. So let's go ahead and pull off the LilyGo, and then I can give you a good look at that. We can do the peel. And then there's the back of the LilyGo. I really like this design. I really prefer the LilyGo setup. So let's set that off to the side here real quick. Now we do have some zip ties right here. And you know what? We'll just cut them right now because I want to take the board all the way off, and that's the only way we're going to be able to do it. So we'll cut those off right there. Be careful, guys. Don't cut the wires. You don't want to do that. That'd be a bad day. It'll be super easy doing this, getting those off there. Perfect. There we go. It looks like it's... Oh, they even have a slot in there for that. So I'll show you this real quick, and it might be hard to see on the camera. But they have a slot for that zip tie to replace it. So that's actually kind of cool. Okay, so let's get power screwdriver, and we will take the screws out. So I'm going to start from the bottom first to pull these screws out, just because I think it'll be easier, because your bottom tends to be hidden there. And again, I'm not going to take the heat sinks off. I'm going to let this thing burn in and work, and then we'll see if, and then maybe we'll let it run for a couple of weeks and then see if we can. Obviously we want to overclock, but at the same time we want to we'll replace the thermal paste at that point too. So, but right now we don't really need to. I let it run for a little bit after I set it up, and it seems to be running just fine. So A lot of screws in this one. Looks like it has 9 screws, I believe, or 8 screws. 8 screws. 2 on the bottom, 3 on the bottom, sorry. 2 here in the middle, and 3 on the top. So let's see. Let's make sure this doesn't fall off the stand. And we're gonna, oh, look at that. They're using some tape right there, and that's just to hold it on. Looks like they have those soldered into right there. Okay, so that's about as far as we're gonna be able to open it, because they do have these soldered right here. So we don't want to bust the solder on those. So if that's the case, let's go ahead and we'll just kind of let this lay like this. And we'll get the fans will come out the front. So that's interesting that they did it that way. I would say that that's probably not the best way to go about that, because you're going to want to be able to get it off the stand. And it looks like they just soldered them right to the contacts of the XT60 connector. So if I would have done it, I think the way I would have gone about this, and like I said, look at, you can see right there where it's soldered. It's not a big deal. It means it's gonna get 100% power. It's not gonna have any PWM function. So kind of a different way to do it, but hey, it still works. So I wanted to see if I can get a look. There we go. You can do that. And there's the back of the board, and that's where they have their little tape there holding that fan connector. We won't lose that. We have our ASICs right here, and then we have our power phases right here. Now, this is where I hear, from my understanding, this is where you want to put extra heat sinks at, okay? So that's probably where we will, is basically every one of these pads, we're just going to put heat sinks right behind it. You could, in theory, also put them here, but we'll have to check the thermals there when we go to do a thermal and overclock video and see where we're at. It feels like the ASICs are not warm, but right here feels pretty warm. So got a little bit of thermal paste right there. Looks like they're probably using the blue one. But yeah, that's it. Let's go ahead and flip this back over. And then we'll put this like this to try to reconnect this board. I do like the fact that it comes with 2 fans. And I think the point of the way they're setting it up is to just set it and go. You know, and honestly, that's the best way to do it. I think I think that's probably the best way to design a miner, especially because you're going to have a broad variety of customers. You're going to have your tinkerers, and then you're going to have your newbies, the regular guys who just want to fire one up and see if it works. You know, they hear the stories, the myths of the solo miners hitting Bitcoin blocks, like recently with the Parasite one. That's so cool. I want to look into Parasite Pool. I don't really know how they work. Mining Dutch has just been easy for me, and I think it might be time to switch it up. Also, in the future, I do plan on doing a node. I'm actually working with someone right now. I'm trying to source the hardware, and I'm not trying to source like the hardware. I literally have the computer. I just need a drive. And so I'm trying to source a drive. Unfortunately, the computer I have just uses a standard SSD and not a cool NVMe drive, but it doesn't matter as long as you have 2 terabytes of storage. Apparently, well, 1 gigabyte at least until the halvening. So then you're gonna need more. So let's go ahead and get this tightened down, get it back on its stand. Again, when you're using these power screwdrivers, guys, be super careful. You don't want to send it home with the screws. You could crack circuit boards, and I don't want to do that. So, boy, this thing is huge. I had to set the camera back. That's kind of crazy how big this is. I like having that, having this top-down view, because I feel like you can get a better look at it when you have it this way. So then let's go ahead and set it like that. Okay. So we'll put the LilyGo display on. Now, it is important that you line this back up correctly, guys. You do not want to put this on wrong. Now, I don't know what it could cause, but I've heard horror stories of like flashing problems and stuff like that. So one of the other things I wanted to point out real quick, and I know people are like, oh, look, there's a fuse there. That is a standard automotive fuse. You do not need to order these from Amazon. You can go over to a Pep Boys and O'Reilly's, Napa Auto Parts. and just say, hey, I need a mini ATO fuse, and this one on this model is 25. So this is a 25 amp mini ATO. That's literally all you need to tell them. You can go to any parts store and get a 25 amp mini ATO fuse, okay? I'm gonna run over here real quick and grab a zip tie so we can get those cables back. We'll give it a little flare. I got a red zip tie. I don't have any black ones. So we'll go ahead and put our zip tie back on. And I like to dog ear them like this. And that'll help you get it back through if you have to. Might have to dog ear it through this way. Hopefully. You might have to dog ear it again too. Dog ear it and then dog ear it again like that. And that'll help get it back through there. Hopefully I don't have to unbolt the board. That would suck just to get the zip tie back. But that board is super thick, so that might be part of the reason why we're struggling to get that through. So let's do this. There we go. Just had to dog ear it a little bit. Get our zip tie back, and I'm going to add some red flare to it with a red zip tie because I am out of black ones. I got a mini bike project I'm building. That's why I'm out of black ones. So needed them for that. Won't show that on the channel here, but maybe you'll see it over on X if you're ever over there. It's sin_division over at X. I have a link to that in my profile on my main profile of the page. So, okay, guys, now don't be the jerk and cut the zip tie at an angle. Cut it flush. Okay. In the automotive industry, that's the jerk thing to do, is to cut it at an angle, because then the next guy who goes to touch it gets sliced open by it. So anyways, guys, that's really it. That's the NerdOctaxe. We're going to run it for a few weeks. We'll do some overclocking. We'll see what we can do with it. And it's going to be awesome. It's 190 watts and it's hitting 12 terahash already. Pretty wild. So I will say this, looking at my frequency, the ASIC frequency is set to 740 and my measured ASIC voltage measurement is 12. So 1.2 millivolts. So yeah. Anyways, it is auto fan, so it's been doing pretty good. Other than that, that's it, guys. I'm gonna get it back over to the table over here and get it set up, and I'll report back. Any questions, comments, concerns? You guys want to chit chat about anything? Please feel free to hit me up. Thanks for watching. Peace out.